So in the today's session, we are going to discuss the homeopathic systems of medicine from the Indian systems of medicine. So let us move towards an introduction to homeopathy systems of medicine. The homeopathy word, it is derived from the homeos and the pathos. So homeos, it seems to be the like or a similar, and pathos, it seems to be the feeling or the suffering. That is the like feeling or the similar suffering. That is nothing but the homeopathy. So homeopathy is a system of natural medicine which is being introduced and developed by the German physician Samuel Hahnemann at the end of 18th century. So the credit of development of the homeopathic systems of medicine goes to the German physician Samuel Hahnemann. He developed the things in the 18th century. He recognized that the whole person, mind, body, spirit is affected when there is an illness, and homeopathy seeks to treat that whole person. Homeopathy, it is not going to treat the particular thing, it is going to treat the whole body, right? So he recognized that the whole person, mind, body, spirit is being affected when there is an illness, and homeopathy seeks to treat that whole person. The focus is not towards the diseased part or the sickness rather than the totality of disease. So in the case of homeopathy, we are considering, we are not focusing the particular region of body which is being affected. We are considering the whole body for the treatment. Homeopathic medicines or remedies stimulate the body's self-regulating mechanisms to initiate the total healing process. The theory or a system of curing disease with a very minute doses of medicine, which in a healthy person and in the large doses would produce a condition like that of a disease. If this theory or homeopathic systems of medicine considers that the small quantity of drug is sufficient to cure the particular disease. If these drugs are given in a large quantities, that may lead to the disease-like condition or the certain toxicities to the patient. So here, the law of similarity, which is a natural law of healing, that is, diseases are heated by the medicines which are capable of producing in a healthy person symptoms similar to those of disease which it can heat in a sick person. It seems to be that is a law of similar. If we have given a drug, homeopathic drug, to the healthy human being, there might be formation of the certain signs and symptoms like a diseased person, right? And if same drug is given with the same and sign, with the same signs and symptoms individual, that particular drug, it is being useful to treat that specific disease or the disorder. That is the law of similarity. That is law of similarity, which is a natural law of healing. Diseases are heated by the medicines which are capable of producing in a healthy person symptoms similar to those of disease which it can heat in a sick person. Okay, let us move towards the historical background of the homeopathy. I have shown the image related with the father of homeopathy, that is German physician Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann, who is the father of homeopathy, developed in 1796. The things are based on his doctrine of like cures like. The whole thing, whole homeopathy is based on the like cures like, a claim a claim that a substance that causes the symptoms of disease is. So the founder, that is a Samuel Hahnemann, here in 1976, the healthy people would cure similar symptoms in the sick people. If the drug is given to healthy person, that may lead to certain signs and symptoms, right? If we are getting the same signs and symptoms to the diseased person, which is being treated with the same drug, easily by using the homeopathic systems of medicine. So it is a pseudoscience, a belief that is correctly presented as a scientific. It claims like cures like, that is dilution increases the potency. It claims two things, like cures like, and dilution increases the potency of the product, whatever the effect we are getting for that particular medicine. Homeopathy claims that, see again, the how the things are going to be connected to the Hippocrates and the Paracelsus. Hippocrates, who is the father of medicine, right? So homeopathy claims that the Hippocrates may have originated homeopathy around 400 BC, when he prescribed a small dose of mandaki root to treat the malaria. So homeopathy starts with the Hippocrates. Only the credit is being given to the Christian Friedrich Samuel Hahnemann, right? In the 16th century, the Paracelsus declares that small dose of what makes a man ill also cures. So whatever the theories are there, which are being proposed by the Hippocrates and the Paracelsus, which is being elaborated by the Samuel Hahnemann in 1790. As the Hippocrates prescribed a small dose of medicine which helps to treat the certain disease, right? And Paracelsus declares that small dose of what makes a man ill also cures, right? So with this brief background, let us move towards the principles of homeopathy. In the case of principles, as like a modern science, Ayurveda, Unani, Siddha, which is based on a certain principle. Likewise, the homeopathic systems of medicine is also based on a certain fundamental principle. There are around 9 principles are there on which the homeopathy is based. That is very first one, that is the law of similia. Second, law of simplex. Third, law of minimum. Fourth, drug proving. Fifth, drug dynamization or potentiation. Then vital force. Then acute and chronic treatment or disease. Then individualization and direction of cure. So these are the certain fundamental things on which the homeopathic system of medicine is based. So let us see one by one the each principle of the homeopathy. So very first one, that is the law of similia. So law of similia suggests that let like be cured by like. Let likes be cured by like. The theoretical law on which homeopathy is based is similia. That is similibus curantur, which means let like be cured by like. That is known as the law of similia. So in this art of healing, the medicine administered to disease the individual is such that if given to healthy person, it produces the same suffering as found in a diseased individual. And that's why it says that the law of similia states that let likes be cured by like. If any compound which is given to healthy person which produces the same suffering like that of the diseased person, which is being used to treat the particular element, disease or disorder, that is the law of similia. Thus, the symptoms of diseased individual are to be matched with the pathogenesis of medicine, and the medicines which are most similar that is similium is selected, administered with a certainty to cure, right? So this is about the law of similium. So this is the first fundamental principle related with the homeopathic systems of medicine. That is the let life be cured by life. The second fundamental principle on which the homeopathy is depend, there is the law of simplex. Simplex means simple. We are not using any complex thing for the treatment of disease or disorder in the case of homeopathic systems of medicine. So simple and single drug should be prescribed at a time to the patient. One should not use the polytherapy. Thus, medicines are proved on healthy human beings singly and in a simple form without admixtures of any other substance. Whatever the drug is that, it is given in the simple and single to the patient, and the complex admixtures which are not being used to treat the diseases and disorders in the case of homeopathic systems of medicine. That is the law of simple. The third one, there is the law of minimum. Law of minimum means minimum quantity of drug, minimum quantity of medicine should be used to treat the certain diseases or disorders or the suffering. The medicines are just required to arouse the reaction in the body. It requires for only to give the stimulus to the system, isn't it? So whatever the systems are there, once it gets activated, that much is sufficient to get the relief from the suffering. That is the law of minimum. If they are given in a large doses, that causes the physiological action, producing unwanted side effects and organic damage, as like a allopathic system of medicine. Suppose if we have taken a paracetamol in a heavy quantity, that may lead to the liver damage. The minutest quantity of medicine helps it to reach the disease which is of a very subtle in nature, and the curative action of drug can only be expected without any unwanted aggravation by using a minimum quantity of medicine. So homeopathy suggests that, or which is based on a principle of minimum quantity of drug is to be used for the treatment of the diseases and the disorders, and that much quantity is sufficient to activate the systems which, from which you will get the relief. If the quantities are which used in a higher side, that may lead to the toxicity or the unwanted effect. Then fourth thing, that is known as a drug proving. So whatever the drugs which are being used in the homeopathic systems of medicine, it should be also proven in nature. So to apply the drugs for therapeutic purposes, their curative power should be known. So what is the curative power? So curative power of a drug is its ability to produce the disease symptom when employed on the healthy person. So that is the curative power, and curative power of the medicine, it should be known, and that is known as the drug proving. So the curative power of drug is known by its pathogenesis and is ascertained by the proving the drug singly on healthy human being, and deserves only the true record of the curative properties. So whatever the curative properties of the drug, it should be analyzed, it should be proven, it should give the same kind of suffering in a healthy volunteer, and that is being considered to treat the certain diseases or disorders according to homeopathic systems of medicine. So that is nothing but a drug proving. Then drug dynamization. So disease is a disturbance or a deviation in the normal harmonious flow of the force, which is dynamic in nature. Whatever the, if we are suffering from the certain diseases, certain disorders, there is an imbalance. Whatever the normal harmonious flow of a body, it is going to be disturbed, and which is a dynamic in nature. So medicine used to encounter disease should have the dynamic action to act on the dynamic disturbance of life force. Therefore, drugs are dynamized or potentialized, liberating their dynamic curative power, which lies dormant in them. So whatever their power is there, power of cure, you can say, which is in a dormant state in the medicine, isn't it? And its potentialization should be done. So this dynamization done by either trituration or the succession. Trituration in the case of insoluble drug and succession in the case of soluble substance. Right? That is nothing but the drug dynamization. It seems to be, take an example of, say for example, any kind of herb we have picked as it is and we have taken. Right? What will happen? We will get certain effect, right? But if we have converted it into the powder and we have taken, what will happen? Its efficacy is going to be increased. If we have extracted the things from that particular material, no doubt, again we say its efficacy is going to be increased likewise. Isn't it? There are two important steps which are being followed in the drug dynamization. In the case of insoluble drug, the trituration is going to be done, and in the case of soluble substances, the succession is going to be done. In the case of drug dynamization, let us see the vital force. This is the sixth fundamental principle in the case of homeopathic systems of medicine. So disease is nothing but the disharmonious flow of the vital force, giving rise to abnormal sensation and function. That is second signs and symptoms. In order to restore the health, the disordered vital force is to be brought back to normal. So whatever the imbalanced vital force is there, it should be normalized. So disease and health are two different quantitative states of vital force of living being, and cure is to be affected here. So vital force has the following characteristics, like it may be spiritual, it may be autocratic, it may be automatic, it may be dynamic, it may be unintelligent and instinctive. So this is about the vital force. Simply the disharmonious flow of the vital force giving rise to certain signs and symptoms that is being considered under the vital force. Then acute and chronic diseases. So diseases are furthermore classified as acute, maybe for short period of time, and the chronic, maybe for longer duration they are going to stay, depending on their onset, nature of progress, and the termination of disease. In the case of homeopathic systems of medicine. Then the eighth fundamental principle, which is based on the individualization, as like allopathic systems of medicine, or maybe in the Ayurvedic systems of medicine, it is being practiced with respect to certain signs and symptoms. And same kind of drug, it is given to the all patients. It's not like that in the homeopathic systems of medicine. Here, the individualization is done, right? Depending on the signs, symptoms, the specific type of a drug, it is given to the patient. So no two individuals are alike in the world. So the disease affecting individual can never be same, assuming the unique individual picture in each diseased individual. Thus, medicines can never be prescribed on the basis of name of disease without individualizing each case of disease. So whatever the disease is there, with respect to their name, we are not prescribing the medicines to the patient in the case of homeopathic systems of medicine. And the individualization of the patient, it is going to be done. So that is related with the individualization in the homeopathic systems of medicine. And the last one, that the direction of cure, Dr. Herring states that cure takes place within outward from above to downward, and symptoms disappear in the reverse of their appearance. If the direction is the reverse of the stated, then it is not cure, but a suppression which has to be off, right? That is the direction of cure. There are main principles which are being considered in the homeopathic systems of medicine. That is the like cures like, the minimum dose, and the individualization. So these are the certain fundamental principles on which the homeopathic systems of medicine is based. So let us move towards the diagnosis and treatment in the homeopathic systems of medicine. Very first one, diagnosis. So in the case of diagnosis, there is a need to collect the detailed case history as well as the medical history. Furthermore, need to evaluate certain signs, symptoms, location, sensation, and so many other parameters. And then furthermore, we have to suppose to build the symptom picture, and according to that, the treatment is given to the particular patient. Let us see the treatment in the homeopathic systems of medicine. So here, in the case of homeopathic systems of medicine, we are using the mother tincture, small pills, and the powder. Maybe the small pills, which is made up of the sugar. Then preparation of doses involved three processes. They are fracturation, succession, and serial dilution. Three important things are there. If the drug is insoluble, we should go for fracturation, which will improve the solubility. If it is soluble, the next step is succession. And once we have prepared the first potency, then there is a dilution from the first potency. That is serial dilution, which increases the potency of the product. Then the potentiation is a physical process denoted by C. Keep in mind the potentiation in the homeopathic systems of medicine, whatever the drugs, dosages which are being used, which is denoted by the C. And there are three scales are being used. Very first one, that is a decimal, 1/10, centesimal, 1/100, and millisimal, that is 1/50,000, which are being used for the dilution purpose. So let us see how the dilutions are being prepared on the scale of decimal scale. So decimal scale, seems to be the 1/10th dilution. One part of drug, it is being diluted with the 10 part, so that we will get the first potency. Once we got the first potency, if we want to prepare the second potency, then again we have to suppose to take the one part from the first potency, and it should be diluted with the 10 parts, right? And in this way, it is possible to prepare the further potencies by using the decimal scale. The potency in this scale is denoted by the suffixing the letter X. So the first potency, it is being denoted as 1x. Second potency, it is being denoted as a 2x on the decimal scale. Let us see the centesimal scale, that is 1/100. So in this scale, the first potency should contain 1/100 of original drug, and the second potency will contain 1/100 of the first potency, and so on. So as to, we will get the dilutions by considering the centesimal scale, that is 1/100. The potency in this scale is denoted by suffixing the letter C to the number indicating the potency. So it is the first potency, it is being denoted as 1C. Second potency, it is denoted as a 2C. And first potency from the centesimal scale is equivalent to, that is 1C is equivalent to 2x potency. Similarly, 2C potency is equivalent to 4x, and so on. The last scale which is being used for the dilution, that is known as the millisimal scale, that is 1/50,000. So in this case, the first potency should contain 1/50,000 part of original drug, and second potency will contain 1 by 50,000 of the first potency and so on. So this is the millisievert scale which is being used to prepare the potency. So potency in this scale is denoted by the 1, 2, 5, 10 and so on, or 0 by 1, 0 by 2, 0 by 5, 0 by 10 and so on. So in this scale, the potency 0 by 2 is equivalent to 4C is equivalent to 8X. Similarly, 0 by 4 is equivalent to 8C, which is equivalent to 16X and so on. So the preparation of potencies through the fracturation is made by either decimal or centesimal, and the preparation of potency through succession, it is made by decimal, centesimal and millisievert scale. If we are going for the fracturation, then we are using the decimal or centesimal scale. If we are going for the succession, then the dilutions are being made with the help of decimal, centesimal or the millisievert scale. So this is about the potencies to be prepared in the homeopathic systems of medicine. Let us move towards the further part, that is sources of homeopathy medicine or sources of drugs to prepare the homeopathic medicine. There are around 5 sources are there which are being used to prepare the homeopathic medicine. Very first one is the plant, second one is the animal, third one is the mineral and chemicals, fourth one is the serum, and fifth one is the vaccine. So the plants, it is possible to use the various medicinal plants for the preparation of the certain medicines in the homeopathic systems of medicine. Similarly, the animal, that is animal secretions or saliva, which is being used to prepare the homeopathic medicines. Then mineral and chemicals like toxic metals, inorganic salts and so on. Then serum like a protoplasm of animal or hormone, and vaccines like a bacterial or viral products which are being used to prepare the homeopathic medicine. Let us move towards the levels of homeopathic therapy. There are 3 levels are there. Very first one is the first aid, second one is the acute homeopathy, and third one is the constitutional homeopathy. First of all, we'll see the first aid. So whatever the homeopathic medicines are there, they are being used as a first aid, right? To treat the common ailments and the occurrences, such as sprains, bruises, minor burns, skin irritation, with certain reactions, rashes, teething pain, and so on. So we can use the homeopathic system of medicine as a first aid. Then second one, that is the acute homeopathy. So acute health problems are those in which symptoms will eventually go away on their own, and they are temporary conditions such as a cold, flu, cough, and sprain. So in these situations also, it is possible to use the homeopathic systems of medicine as they are safe, gentle, and no harmful side effects, which is being suggested. Furthermore, it is being used to assist sensitive conditions such as pregnancy. Maybe the motion sickness, which is a major problem in the case of pregnancy. The last level, that is known as the constitutional homeopathy. So in the case of constitutional homeopathy, which refers to treatment of person as a whole, including the past and present symptoms, maybe which is related to the chronic. Whatever their past symptoms are there, which needs to be considered. Present symptoms are there, which needs to be considered. When accurately implemented, homeopathic constitutional care can elicit a profound healing responses, and it is extremely effective in treating chronic and long-term health problems. So whatever the constitutional homeopathy is there, it is being used to treat the certain chronic diseases as well as the long-term health problems. For example, recurrent ear infections can be treated with a homeopathy remedy for a longer period of time to strengthen the body's immune system and to prevent future occurrences. So these are the levels of homeopathic therapy. Let us see the holistic and individual approach in the homeopathic systems of medicine. So the homeopathic approach is holistic as well as the individualistic. Already we have seen in the principle. Such a variation of symptoms is found with respect of location of symptoms, their sensation, character, physical and mental attributes of patients, scope, and the limitation. Complaints during the pregnancy, labor, and puerperum, common problems of children, acute or chronic, which are not life-threatening. It can enhance the healing process and reduce recovery period, and can provide corollary assistance and improve quality of life and act. So homeopathy, it is being considered as a holistic and individual approach in the treatment of certain diseases and disorders. So with this, we have finished the homeopathic systems of medicine. We have discussed the introduction to the homeopathic systems of medicine. We have discussed its origin. We have discussed the principles or fundamental principles of homeopathic systems of medicine. Furthermore, we have discussed the diagnosis, then treatment, then preparation of potencies, and so on. Okay, thank you very much.